Yes.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna convene our September 23rd TAMC Board of Directors meeting. And if Ms. Rodriguez could call the roll, please.
District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Here.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips. District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Here.
District 4, Supervisor Parker.
Here.
District 5, Supervisor Adams. District 5, I'm sorry, City of Carmel by the Sea. City of Delray Oaks.
Good morning. Here.
City of Gonzales. City of Gonzales.
Here.
City of Greenfield.
Here.
City of King City.
Present.
City of Marina.
Present.
City of Monterey.
Present.
City of Pacific Grove.
Here.
City of Salinas.
Here.
City of Sand City.
Here.
City of Seaside.
Here.
City of Soledad.
Here.
Education, financial literacy,
Ambag.
Here.
Caltrans District 5.
Present.
positive impacts,
Monterey Bay Air Resources District.
advocate for our community. How can you help?
Monterey Regional Airport District.
Here.
Monterey Salinas Transit.
Here.
City of Watsonville.
Campaign, corporate work campaign.
CSUMB.
Here.
Chair, we do have a quorum. We have 1, 2,
Shelters, food
3. So yeah, we have a quorum. We are minus 3.
volunteer. It is hard,
Okay.
We have
Thank you very
District 5 now.
but it's no less important.
District 5 joined
District
us.
5. Okay.
Jim
Okay.
Adams is here.
Okay. Thank you,
Great. Anyone
Mary.
else who joined us late? Okay. All right, let's go to the Pledge of Allegiance. If we can put our flag up. All right, please join me in our nation's pledge. I pledge of allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America.
States of America.
and
And to the republic for which it stands,
One
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty,
liberty,
for all.
justice for all.
Andrew,
Thank you.
on behalf of the board of United Way Monterey County.
Okay, now we're on item number 2. Comments from the public for anything not on today's agenda.
And so we were reminded this morning how important
If you could push the participants button and raise your hand if anyone from the public has any questions or any
Chair.
comments.
Okay. Chair?
Yes.
Yeah, could you just make an announcement to all parties that if they're not addressing, they should keep it on mute? We're getting a lot of background
Yes.
noise.
Thank you.
Please, everyone, if you could mute your microphones on your computers, that way it's less background noise as others are speaking. And if there's any members of the public, if they could push the participants button and raise their hand, and then you could be recognized to make public comments on anything not on. But seeing none, let's go to our next item. Let's go to consent. This is consent item number 3. Does anybody want to remove or make comments on any of the consent agenda items? Is there any comments from the public on the consent agenda? Okay, can I entertain a motion?
move approval of the consent agenda.
Moved by
second.
second by, I saw Ed Smith raise his hand, so I'll recognize his second. Let's do roll call.
Okay. District 1, Supervisor Alejo.
Aye.
District 2, Supervisor Phillips.
Aye.
District 3, Supervisor Lopez.
Hi.
District 4, Supervisor Parker.
Aye.
District 5, Supervisor Adams. District
Aye.
5, okay, thank you. City of Carmel by the Sea. City of Delray Oaks.
Aye.
City of Gonzales. City of Greenfield.
Aye.
City of King City. City of King City. City of Marina.
Yes.
City of Monterey.
Yes.
City of Pacific Grove.
Aye.
City of Salinas.
Aye.
City of Sand City.
Yes.
City of Seaside.
Aye.
City of Soledad.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes.
This
14.
is City of King. I missed it. I got out of reception. My vote would have been aye.
Okay, so motion passes 15 with 2 absence.
Just in time, Mayor LaBar. That's good. All right, let's go to number 4. Receive a presentation on Monterey Transit on contactless fare payment demonstration program. And I got Ms. Reinheimer.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be presenting today, and Mike Zeller has graciously let me be the co-host, so I will be sharing my screen. And give me a second here so I can get this thing up. Okay, so yeah, this is a sort of a repeat from what I presented to the MST board, and with some updated information for those of you who overlap on the MST board. The contactless fare payment demonstration project is really exciting, and I'm going to get right into it. Okay, so MST adopts goals and objectives and a strategic plan every so often, and this particular demonstration is well within our strategic plan. We have some money set aside in state climate investment grant funds to move forward with a mobile ticketing contactless fare payment technology. It's in our action plan, but before we fully invest in the state climate investment grant funds for this type of project, we are embarking on a demonstration first to see how it might work. So we'd like to reduce the costs that it takes MST to process cash transactions. We'd like to reduce our MST Go Pass and Go Card production costs. We'd especially like to speed up the boarding process and reduce the amount of time people take to get onto the bus paying with cash. We'd also like to see if this feasibility of the contactless card would be a universal system to determine eligibility for a reduced cost on our entire system, and possibly on our Measure Q taxi voucher program. And we'd like to see if there is indeed a demand from our customers for a distance-based fare and fare capping strategy that I'll get into in a minute. And also, we are always trying to improve customer satisfaction and make it easier to pay for transit. So we were contacted by Caltrans to see if we would like to participate in the California Integrated Travel Project. And we said, of course, yes. And they identified in their feasibility study 3 goals: ensure access to reliable transit and accurate transit information, reduce friction in payments, that's what we're going to be talking about today, and create a statewide eligibility verification program that could apply to all transit systems across the state. So let me get into the meat of it. What is contactless fare payment? Well, it's also known as tap to pay. You may have a contactless card and not even know it, or you may be using it already. It's widely available, not necessarily on transit, but at grocery stores, at Targets, et cetera, and you use your contactless symbol to pay for a transaction. So how does this work? Well, what we would have is the contactless credit card, debit card, or your digital wallet or a wearable. You may have Apple Pay or Google Pay or some other type of device payment option on your smartphone. Well, you can use that on board a validator that we will be installing on our buses, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So people come up, tap to pay for their trip. It's processed through a company called Little Pay, and then that money goes to our bank with a little fee off the top, of course. So what does it look like? This is pretty much what it's going to look like for the individual getting on board the bus. And why are we doing this now? It's a really good question. We have a lot on our plate for sure, as does everybody else. But this will help to prevent the spread of COVID-19 by decreasing the number of touch points people have on board the bus, and also speeding up the boarding process so that it limits close contact time in the front of the bus. We also know from some of our surveys that customers are expecting this type of payment option, and this open payment system and contactless credit card is widely available in other media markets, for the grocery stores and what have you. So no special fare media is required, so people don't have to go to our customer service locations to take advantage of any kind of monthly pass or daily or weekly pass. They just get on board the bus and they don't have to make that trip to one of our 3 customer service locations. And it also enables to pay the fare by distance that the bus travels from point to point. So we'll be testing out this option as well in this 6-month demonstration. So who would use this contactless option? Well, we have done surveys of our passengers, and 68% have heard of Tap to Pay and 22% currently use it. So there's certainly a gap there where we think we can convert people into tapping to pay. 32% said they would ride more often if it were available to them. And again, anyone with a contactless credit, debit card, or mobile wallet could use the new system. And what it will do is allow some riders who are traveling shorter distances to pay less than what is currently out there. So if somebody's only going a short ride on a $3.50 route, they could potentially pay only $2.50 instead. And it also introduces fare capping, which I will get into right now. So what we're proposing to do here is have a distance-based fare where it's based on 2.7 miles, 2.7 miles to 14, 14 to 50, 50 to 77, 77 and more, depending on where they tap on and tap off. And then we would also introduce a capping strategy where if somebody is using our system more often, they would cap out at $10 a day. So they would never be charged more than $10 a day, $50 a week, $95 for 31 days. And then of course there would be the discount fare available to those who are eligible, including seniors, people with disabilities, veterans, and young folks as well. So the big question is, when will this become available to passengers? I had previously reported that it would be October, November timeframe. It's looking more like November that we will launch this. But it will depend on our partners at Visa and the group that's put together to make this happen. So we had some questions before we went into this, and it's been an interesting process to learn about how this will all work. One of the big questions we had was, what about an individual's privacy and cybersecurity? And so we asked our partners at Visa and Little Pay what their policies were, and really what it comes down to is there's very limited data. Excuse me. There's very limited data excuse me, that's collected during the transaction process, and it's never sold or given away to any third party by Visa or Little Pay. So with a fare by distance, do passengers pay more or less? Well, some will pay more, some will pay about the same. We tried to structure the new distance-based fare by looking at our existing fare structure. So most will probably pay about the same on a per trip basis, but some may want to choose contactless because it might be more advantageous for them paying less on that per trip based on distance. So fare capping, I think I talked about sufficiently. Will passengers be required to install an app? No special app is required. All they have to do is have that contactless credit, debit card, digital wallet, wearable with that tap to pay sign on their card. What about discounts for youth, seniors, persons with disabilities, and veterans? We are working with our state partners to add this to the demonstration period. We're not sure if it's going to be 100% available upon launch, but we are working with our partners to get an automatic, universal way to provide verification within the card so that people will automatically get charged the right amount based on their particular situation, if they're a youth, senior, person with a disability and veteran. So for the unbanked or underbanked, can customers still pay with cash? Absolutely. The contactless is a safe alternative to cash, but again, MST is not taking out our cash collection system, and people are still able to use cash. I think I'm getting towards the end here. So how much does MST spend on handling credit cards, cash, etc.? Well, we looked at this and we're surprised that 8% of our total amount that we collect in 2019 was spent on collecting cash. So what would the cost be to MST to process these new transactions via contactless? We're looking at 3.86%, but if we're successful here in this demonstration and it spreads throughout the state, then we can collectively reduce that 3.86% across the board. Our current transaction fees are 3.66% for credit cards, but most of our collections are in cash. And there's no capital outlay for this demonstration. We're not paying for the validators that are getting placed on our, installed on our buses. So next steps, we'll receive and install and test the equipment in October, November, train our staff, drivers, and promote the contactless option. We have some nice marketing and communications materials that we'll be posting on our social media channels, on board our buses, and what have you. We'll initiate this 6-month demonstration, hopefully in November, and analyze the results, report back to the MST board, and see what it looks like. And then in the future, next calendar year, we'll look at the results and determine what future we want for any kind of contactless mobile payment option. Oops, I'm going backwards. Do not go backwards. Okay, there we go. I'm finished with my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Ms. Reinheimer, for the presentation. Could you said my MST was chosen. How many other transit agencies are participating in this pilot? And also on the Little Pay, what percentage do they charge for their transaction fee?
I'll answer
For example, if you had a 250.
Sure. Yeah. No. It's a great question on Little Pay. We're still negotiating a contract with them, so it's in the single-digit percentage, definitely not double digits. And Carl, maybe you can, I don't recall the number of other transit agencies who might be participating in a demonstration. Maybe you can help me out.
Right now, it's just MST.
Okay.
We are it.
No wonder I hadn't heard of it.
Wow. Oh, wow. Good job, MST. All right, we got a few other questions. We'll go, let's see first, Bill Sable and then Robert Hewitt.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Is everybody hearing me? I had trouble the last time. Everybody okay? All right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thanks, Lisa and Carl. What an exciting venture. I think that's well called for. I was kind of curious as a passenger, how will I know how much I'm paying with my credit card, and how will I get a receipt or know how much I actually did pay on this method?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And because it goes through your own credit card, you can see the statement for sure. And it's based on not where the bus actually travels, but a point to point. So I'll give you an example. If you're going from downtown Monterey to San Jose Diridon Station on the line 55, which is actually suspended right now, but we had it before. The actual miles that the bus travels is about 60 because you're going around the bay and up through on Highway 101. But the actual distance from point to point is about 40 miles. So what one would be charged for would be the 40-mile amount, not the amount of distance the bus actually travels. It's going to be a little bit tricky to guesstimate. We can certainly help out customers. They could, go on Google Maps if they wanted to check their point to point, but it should be pretty similar to what their existing fare is today, which we largely base on distance as the crow flies from one end to the other. So it should be pretty similar. There are a few exceptions, but we're hoping that it'll be pretty predictable.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Through the chair, may I add something to that?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So, Bill, I think your question was, you won't get a receipt because these types of systems, they want fast boarding. And so you're just going to click and pay, and they're micro purchases, $1.50, $2.50, $3.50 for the most part. And we're working with Google. The state, Caltrans, is working with Google based on this distance model because we're the first to do this. Google is looking at developing an algorithm in the app that will calculate the mileage. And so before you plan your trip, we'll be able to push out what that will cost you. So if you look at and plan your trip with our trip planner or on our transit app, you'll be able to know what it will cost. That is the intent, and Google is working on that today.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Carl and Lisa.
Sure.
Good presentation.
All right, Mr. Hewitt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing this with our agency. I think it's an excellent move forward. I just want to make sure I understand that this does not require or involve the use of a special card like the London Tube has the famous Oyster card, but this will just rely and depend entirely on existing credit cards and also smartphones. Can they be used with the devices?
Yes, yeah, no special Oyster card. If your card has the contactless symbol on the back of it, you can use it. So it's really the Visa, MasterCard, Apple Wallet, Google Pay. If there's a Samsung Pay out there, anything that has a contactless enabled, you can use that. So yeah, it's really designed to be built into what customers already have. Now, if you don't have the contactless symbol on the back of your debit credit card, then it wouldn't work. But by and large, most banks at this point are moving towards contactless credit cards at this point.
Thank you very much, and good luck with the project. Sounds great.
Great. Any other board members? Ed Smith, I see, raise his hand.
Yeah, thank you,
Go for
Chair.
it, Ed.
Yeah, it's an exciting opportunity to pilot. Any plans to be able to take the data from Google Maps in terms of the charging and post some kind of a rate sign that might be inside of the buses long term, so that when somebody does get on the bus, they can actually learn a little bit more while they're sitting there. They can see the cost as they travel, so that they're more informed.
Yes, in fact, what we've learned from our customer surveys is that a large percentage of our customers learn about changes in routes and and information about MST inside of our buses and by the drivers. So when we push out our communications, one of our strategies is always to use the interior of the bus to let people know what's going on. So I would imagine we would have at least the rate structure that you saw in this presentation at a minimum. We're also looking at having a brochure on board the bus as well. And our customer service reps will be fully trained and up to speed on this whole thing as well.
And the secondary piece of that, is there an app that the MST currently has that is something that we can also put additional information through?
Yes, we have what's called the Transit app, and it pulls information that we publish out to the world on our real-time bus arrival, departure information, and that is available to us to push out information as well. So we can have our partners at Transit app put a banner at the top of the app talking about fare cap, this new contactless fare system. So we'll do that as well.
Yeah, great opportunities. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else? Questions on this presentation? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Ms. Reinheimer. Thank you, Carlos Zadork, for this great work on this pilot project. Look forward to more in the months ahead. I think we had one comment that was trying to address the board, but technical difficulty. So I believe was, if I could here. We'll just go over to the public. We'll unmute him to be recognized.
Chair, I believe Grant Leonard dropped off the meeting during the MST presentation, so we can circle back with him after the meeting to comment.
All right. For that, go to item number 5, an update on the Go1 challenge. Moon. On this?
We're having difficulty hearing you, Mr. Chair.
Well, I'll just go ahead and start then. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ariana Green, Senior Transportation Planner with the Transportation Agency for Monterey County. And I'll provide a brief update on the Go It Through One program and then hand it off to our new Go It Through One coordinator, Tracy Burke-Vasquez, to talk about some exciting new opportunities to get involved in the program. Next slide, please. All right, so just as a little background information about our program kicked off in spring of 2018, and how it's structured is that we work with employers across Monterey County to help them develop or improve smart commute programs for their employees. And the programs are based off of the 4 R's of transportation demand management, which is to reduce the number of drive alone trips, remode, choosing different modes other than driving alone, retiming their trips so that not everyone's trying to get to the office at the same exact time and clogging up the roadways, or rerouting trips, so taking alternate routes to get to and from the office or college. Next slide. And this slide just provides a summary of the things that we offer through our program. So our program is free to the employers that we work with. And we offer a suite of tools that they can use to engage with their employees and actually manage and run their own program. And we provide that free of charge to them. And we also provide some incentives to get their employees engaged. And we provide a trip reduction planning service. So for those employers that don't already have a program, we found early on in the Go Through One program that they were really needing some additional help getting set up and really figuring out what sort of program would work best for their employees. So we developed a survey for the employees to ask them questions directly about who is actually interested in smart commuting, who would do it, what modes would they choose, and what sort of incentives would motivate them to do it. And then we use that information to develop a plan for the employer to start a program. So that's a really cool benefit that we offer through the program. And then we also offer our emergency ride home program, which is something that's been around for a long time now, but not a lot of people know about. And the emergency ride home program is a peace of mind program that is for people who smart commute at least 1 day a week. And it really helps get over the barrier of not having your car with you every day at work in case there's an emergency. So if you are, let's say, carpooling and you or your ride has to leave early because of an emergency or unexpectedly has to work late, then the other person can make use of this program and we'll reimburse them up to $60 for a ride back to their car or home. And then we also provide resources online and are gearing up to have a monthly e-newsletter for our employees with all sorts of smart commute tips and resources. Next slide, please. And this is just a screenshot of our online trip matching tool. So this is a really cool tool that can help employees find their smart commute modes, or even this screen shows if you're interested in starting to bike to work, you can actually find other people to bike with. So there's a function where you can either form or join an existing bike pool. And you can see that there are already some people doing this commuting from Marina to Monterey, which is really cool. But you can also find information about carpooling, when it's safe to do so, walking to work, biking. You can also find out information on how to ride the bus to work. And then you also have information, can look at information about how impactful it is to drive alone to work. Next slide, please. All right, so to provide a recap for the past year of the program, we currently have 12 employers actively participating in our program. And last October, for our commute challenge, we had 106 participants, which was twice the number that we had in the previous year. We did not, unfortunately, hold a bike walk challenge in 2020. Sorry, that should say 2020 instead of 2019. But we plan to do so in 2021. And then those, in terms of the trip reduction plans, we have 2 completed with the employers, and we have 5 in progress. And that process has unfortunately been disrupted by COVID-19 and a couple other things I'll get into in a minute. Next slide, please. So this table shows a comparison between 2018 and 2019 and a few criteria that we look at. So we look at the number of smart commute trips that people are taking. And the way we get this data, just to back up a minute, is that because our program is incentive based and we have our online platform that makes it really easy to track trips, that means we also finally have data on people smart commuting and how they're commuting to work, so long as they're tracking their trips. So this is data that's coming from our go831.rideamigos.com platform, our online platform, and the tool that we provide for free to our employers. And we can track a number of different things, but these are the three major ones criteria that we look at. So as you can see, for the number of smart commute trips, we've seen a 41% increase over the past from 2018 to 2019, which is great. And then we also track the number of smart commute miles. So we've also seen a 30% increase in the number of smart commute miles. And we've also seen an increase in the amount of CO2 emissions savings. So these are emissions that are saved by walking, biking, taking transit, that sort of thing, carpooling versus driving alone to and from work. And so we saw a 58% increase in the savings in CO2 emissions. So these are all great. This is a great trend for the first year of our program. And 2020, unfortunately, has presented quite a few challenges to us, but also some great opportunities. So I think the biggest challenge has not actually been COVID-19 and sheltering in place. It's been our staffing resources. So in February, we lost our first Go831 coordinator who we had hired in summer of 2019. And so we lost, our full-time employee for the program right before shelter in place hit, which reduced our ability to engage with and reach out to our employers and more employers, and our ability to run our May challenge. But the good news with all of this is that COVID has helped tremendously in getting people off the road and driving alone. So we have a huge increase in telecommuting, teleworking in Monterey County. We have increases in walking and biking, and that's great. We haven't been able, because we haven't had the staff this past spring, we haven't been able to capitalize on that as much as we'd like in getting people to actually track those trips so that we have the data on it. But we can all tell the difference in just the reduction in traffic and when we're out on the road and driving around. So our goal moving forward is to engage with our employers and employees so that we can get them to start tracking their telecommuting, getting them to track their biking and walking trips to and from work, so that we have that data to reflect the change in travel behavior and commuting behavior in our county. Our other good news is that we have hired a new Go831 coordinator, Tracy Burke-Vasquez, and she joined us in late July of 2020 and has really hit the ground running. She's a CSUMB alum, and she has some great experience in communications and with media that has already proven to be a great asset to the program and to our agency as a whole. And so with that, I'm going to hand it over to Tracy Burke-Vasquez to talk about the upcoming Go831 Smart Commute Challenge.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ariana. Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Burke-Vasquez, as Ariana said, and I am the new Go831 Smart Commute coordinator. I came on board in late July, and I am very excited to be able to be a part of what's happening right now. As far as Ariana said, there's a lot more increase in use of telework, and employers seeing that is a valid resource, and also a lot more people biking and walking because they need to get out for their mental health. And we have coming up in October our Go 831 Smart Commute Challenge, which is trying to capitalize on the idea of capturing all of these good habits while people are still doing them, before people start getting back to work in any sort of regular capacity, and harness those good habits and let them win some prizes for it. So this year we have the privilege of working with the Blue Zones Project, as well as the City of Salinas. And together with those two agencies, we're able to provide over $5,000 in prizes. Next slide, please. Just a little recap. When I first came on, we were focusing a lot on, well, the position itself included carpooling and van pooling, and that's not something we can really focus on right now with COVID. So we really wanted to start focusing on how to help people telecommute better, and also to encourage them to do biking and walking, and also utilizing hybrid and electric vehicles. Next slide, please. So that leads us to our Go 831 Smart Commute Challenge, which is coming up in October. And you can be a part of the challenge by going to go831rideamigos.com. And you can download an app onto your phone or onto your desktop. There's also a program which actually has much better functionality. So I recommend you start with the computer version and then just start updating on your smartphone as you go along. Next slide, please. The concept this year is that we are challenging Monterey County to go to the moon. So essentially that means if 1,000 people do 7.7 miles per day, either biking, walking, or saving miles via telework, that it would take that collective group the month of October to get to the moon. So that is our challenge with the two other agencies, the Blue Zones and also the City of Salinas, to make this challenge a reality. Next slide, please. Because COVID-19 has changed the way we all work, we really want to try to capture, like I said, those good habits now and get people used to using the platform, seeing the benefits of it, seeing how they can join bike groups, how they can save money while not commuting on the roadways, how they can find various van pools when that becomes accessible again. We will have access to that information, but essentially we want people to use this time to become familiar with the platform and really start using or seeing the benefits of how it works. Next slide, please. This year, like I said, our main partner we've had the opportunity to work with is the Blue Zones Project. Many of you are familiar with them, but the Blue Zones is a global movement aimed at inspiring people to live longer and more active lives. So that's a perfect tie-in to the idea of biking and riding, and also the quality of life that comes in with not commuting in a hectic traffic environment. Next slide, please. Who can participate in this contest or this challenge? Anyone living or working in Monterey County, but we want to make sure that all trips are being conducted in accordance with the most recent CDC requirements. So everyone knows that means masks while you're out, 6 feet apart, wash your hands, make sure that you wouldn't put yourself in any sort of danger just to compete in the challenge. Just everyone keep safe and make sure that you're, like I said, following everything that the CDC is recommending. Next slide, please. So again, exciting contest challenge. We want to encourage you to get on your bike, walk, telework, go to 831rideamigos.com, and there are up to $5,000 in prizes. Next slide, please. Those prizes are being provided by the City of Salinas and the Blue Zones Project. And one of the big prizes of the two that we're pretty excited about is we have an iPad mini with a year subscription to Apple TV, and also a catered luncheon to be provided for your office coworkers for the office with the most participation. So say it's a percentage of participation. So it evens the playing field so that all the different offices can get involved and compete to win a big lunch. Next slide, please. We are asking the board to please help us spread word about this challenge. And we have a flyer available that we can email to everyone, and it will also be available on our site. And we'll also have a partner site available with the Blue Zones. Next slide. And I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for your time, and also for to my team at TAMC. I'm really enjoying being a part of the group here, and I look forward to working with all of you, encouraging all of you to become a part of the program. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, Ms. Burke Vasquez, for your enthusiasm, and also Ms. Green for the presentation as well. Let's go to any questions from the board on this program. I don't see any hands raised. Okay. Oh, well, I don't know if you have any questions, but thank you very much for the presentation. Look forward to hearing more about it. And Tracy, I don't know if you could just give us ways that we could get the word out, maybe posting on our social media and as individual board members, the program, if you could email that to us, any ways that you think that we could help promote it.
Absolutely. I'll send a flyer around to the board and give you information about the various websites. And I'd encourage all of you to go to the website itself and check out the platform. It's very cool. You can just kind of play around with it, sign up yourself. And if you have a team or a couple of people in your office and this is something of interest to you, please let me know, and I would be happy to give you a deeper presentation, show you how it works, some of the benefits, and get you and your organization or city signed up. So just let me know.
Great. Thank you for that. I don't see any raised hands, so we'll thank both of you for the presentation, and we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda. Let's go to item number 6. These are just reports from our transportation providers. We have a relatively short agenda today, so we'll start with Caltrans Director report and project update. Caltrans. If we don't have anybody from Caltrans, let's go to Monterey Peninsula Airport. Mr. Sabo.
Oh,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, looked like Scott Eads was trying to chime in.
Oh, okay, let's go back to Scott, and then we'll
Sorry
go.
about that. I was having some unmuting issues here. So I do have some things to report,
Okay.
Mr. Chair and members of the board. First of all, I'm Scott Eads here for Tim Gubbins. I am the Deputy District Director of Transportation Planning and Local Assistance. For reports today, I just wanted to highlight a few things. One is if you travel to San Diego, and I know many of us are not traveling a lot these days, but you may see some unique pavement markings at some off-ramps in San Diego. We're currently in the process of a 1-year pilot program to test different ways of signing and striping at off-ramp exits to try to minimize the potential for wrong way movements down ramps. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, can be a very severe type of accident. And so it continues to be a focus for us. We're doing a pilot program down there. And so if you happen to see them, you'll know what that's about, and it might be something we replicate in the future in other areas if it's successful. I want to highlight that there's we're always aware of different funding programs that are out there. And so I'll announce those from time to time. There's some now for FHWA that they're looking at railway and highway crossings. It looks like the funding is more focused towards rail providers, but if anybody's looking for information about that, happy to provide it. Another thing that I want to highlight is that NOAA, National Center for Oceanic Science, Coastal Oceanic Sciences, they're currently offering about a $1.2 million nationwide for adaptation planning and coastal management decisions. So again, I have information on that grant program, might be something that might be of interest to some folks. And then last thing is I wanted to highlight that we are seeking input, Caltrans is seeking input on the California Transportation Plan 2050. It's in draft form now, it's out for public review. There's actually a webinar this Friday, September 25th, from 11:30 to 1 p.m. You can register or go look for information at ctp2050.com. And with that, I don't have any other items. Happy to take questions if there are any.
Okay, any questions? Seeing none, Thank you, Scott. We're going to go to Monterey Airport. Mr. Sable.
Okay, thank you, Chair Alejo. And we always, as usual, appreciate this opportunity for shameless promotion of our community resource here at the Monterey Airport. I can report that passenger traffic and the flights are starting to gradually increase. Passengers are kind of nationwide are still kind of concerned about flying on airplanes because of the virus, and the airlines are taking steps to try to ease that concern, and we are doing so at the airport as well. And I'll talk about that a little bit, but the good news is down to San Diego, we now have 2 flights provided by Alaska Airlines. You can go down, do your business, and come back in the same day on these Alaska flights. That's already starting in September here. And in October, we're starting 2 flights a day to Dallas, which is an excellent opportunity for those who are okay with flying or need to travel to the East Coast and the Midwest. And we're very excited about that. And our flights to Los Angeles and Denver are doing very well. Our load factors are very good. And so it's increasing. It's just kind of contained because of the virus issues. And we're trying to help in that area. It's important to know also that our concessions are still available, like the restaurant at the airport. It's an excellent opportunity to, in the fall here, when we have some nice weather, to have outside dining on our viewing deck. And that's been extremely popular so far. So it's a good opportunity to do so, maybe an early, late afternoon, early evening dinner out there at the airport. And that's available to just about anybody. And we also have, we're doing very well financially. We saved a lot of money and built up a cash reserve in anticipation of any kind of potential crises, and that's serving us well. So we're financially healthy. The only other things I wanted to talk about was that we're trying very hard to keep the airport safe for local passengers and visitors. We're exploring lots of options in terms of contact check-ins, expanding the boarding areas, the hold rooms to provide more distancing. These are all new concepts, and things evolve slowly, but we're working on that, and so it's a fairly safe environment. And what I want to share with everybody, particularly those people that are listening, this is a community resource. This is owned and operated as a public entity, and so we're very dependent on local traffic here. The virus has interfered with our visitor traffic, as everybody knows, and we encourage those who live locally here to continue to use the airport, and as opposed to other alternatives. And this will have a dramatic impact on the extent to which we are able to offer flights in the future. The airlines are on a 30-day commitment basis. They can pull out as soon as the traffic diminishes. They can pull out at any time, and that's what we are most concerned about. And we want locals, people here in our community, and that includes Salinas and the Salinas Valley, to use the airport as much as they possibly can, because that gets us more flights to the places we want to go. So, and for Debbie, we're still working on getting a Sacramento flight. So thank you very much, Chair Alejo.
Thank you very much. And I certainly always fly out of Monterey when I can, directly to Phoenix. So I just love the flight, and I love the airport. Anyone else, any questions on the Monterey Peninsula Airport? See none, let's go to Monterey Salinas Transit, back to Carl Sadoric.
Thank you, Chair. And first of all, I want to thank the TAMC board for their approval of the item on consent 3.2.1 that allowed TAMC Executive Director Debbie Hale to work with us on our loan for our TIFIA loan for financing the South County Operations and Maintenance Building in King City. This will allow us to finance over $8.5 million, nearly $8.5 million at a interest rate of 0.71% if we were to close it today. That's a pretty low rate. I'm not sure if I should lock in. Should I lock in right now? Should I wait for it to go lower? No, I think that's a pretty low rate, and couldn't do it without TAMC. And I have to really thank Debbie and Todd and Ms. Ryman for all their help, and the rest of the TAMC staff. I think Madeline was involved as well, helping us get to this point. So we look to close that financing deal here in October. We should be able to lock this down for that financing. Meanwhile, construction is continuing at the facility. Some of you were able to attend our socially distanced ribbon cutting ceremony earlier, and if you were to go to the site today, you'd see a lot of work being done. You would not recognize the site today. It was just a flat, bare field a couple months ago, and now we're under active construction. So as far as MST, like the airport, service is slowly coming back every month. We're seeing increases every week. We're seeing increases in ridership coming back, really waiting for us to move from purple to red, and then hopefully into orange and yellow in the new color-coded system, because so that people will come back to work and use MST. We are maintaining our social distance on board the buses. We did start collecting fares again in August and actually saw a 5% increase in ridership. That just shows you the demand is coming back even after we restored collection of fares. We put physical barriers in place on all our buses. All our drivers have a plexiglass shield protecting them from the passengers and any sort of aerosol that might be emitted by a passenger while they're boarding. While we've been adding service back, we had, just to add to a degree of difficulty to everything that we've been doing, we were involved in wildfire evacuations through last month. We're actively called upon to evacuate the Rippling River facility of a few dozen of their residents, and evacuated them to Sherwood Hall, then to Asilomar, and to other locations around the county, and then returned them back the following week. We were on notice to evacuate Carmel Valley Manor. They did not need that, though. They were able to turn the course of the fire in time. And frankly, there was a notice working together with CAL FIRE where we were being asked to help develop plans should there have been a second lightning storm, which was threatening that one weekend, and I think keeping us all up late at night. The whole of the Damani Forest was being looked at as a potential evacuation zone. And we found out that our own facilities were about 500 yards from the evacuation advisory area. So while we were evacuating others and planning for evacuations, we had to look at planning the evacuation of our own maintenance operations and admin facilities in Monterey. So that was an exciting month. Currently, what we have on tap, starting October 1, we're going to be returning service on line 48, which connects the LSL corridor and Salinas Transit Center, and then up to the county government facilities at Schilling Place. This is being put into place. This is the only access that we provide to the county government offices and the Salinas Airport Business Center as well. But really, we're doing this for the elections. This will provide our passengers, if they need to go to the county office buildings for election-related casting ballots or any other issues, we will be providing that service weekdays up until the 24th, where the elections office will be open on weekends. So we'll be providing daily service from the 24th through the election, and then returning back to weekday service after the elections. And by the way, your MST board, it seems like it was a million years ago, but it was probably about 6 months ago, you approved, the MST board approved free service on election day. So we'll be putting out information to the community through our various social media and website and other communications, how to access ballot locations using transit. And finally, Both Monterey Peninsula College and Hartnell Community College have continued their free fare programs with MST. So while classes are not necessarily in session, labs are open, and there are other student facilities open on campus at both Hartnell and MPC. And MST buses can be used free by Hartnell and MPC students for any trip purpose, not just going to campus, but if they're going to work or going to local shops, restaurants, wherever they need to go, they'll be able to travel free on MST. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl, and thanks. It's good to hear those programs continue at the community colleges, and also your leadership on supporting Election Day to get people out and make it easy through transit. Any other comments on this, anybody? See none, let's go to Monterey Bay Air Resources District, Mr. Stedman. Okay, if he's not with us, let's go to number 7, reports on any meetings attended by board members.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'm here. I was
okay, go for it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. Just a few items here. Under MBART's plug-in Monterey program, we have 2 new electric DC fast charge stations that have been recently installed at Target stores in Marina and Hollister. They're awaiting activation by PG&E to make them available to the public. But these are convenient destination locations to make EV fast charging available where there's high traffic and opportunities for activities such as shopping while folks are charging. And I'll probably be saying this at all the following meetings too. This is the time to buy or lease a new or used electric vehicle. MBARD's Monterey Bay Electric Vehicle Incentive Program launched on July 1st. Applicants are eligible to receive up on average $2,000 in incentives. And if you're low income qualified, or for those folks that are, that amount doubles. So it's a real generous program. And PG&E is actually offering some rebate monies as well. And we hope that Monterey Bay Community Power, Central Coast Community Energy will be offering additional packages for home charging and that sort of thing. Our zero emission school bus program's moving right along. We've received 27 applications. We've funded and delivered 11 all electric school buses. And so this is really great. We hope to work and partner with Central Coast Community Energy to get some more of these buses funded and out there. And then at our last board meeting, the board approved grants to a number of entities under our AB 2766 program. And I should just say a few of the winners are the cities of Monterey and Salinas, along with the county of Santa Cruz, will be receiving $400,000 each for adaptive traffic signal control projects. And then we're really excited about the city of Santa Cruz is $400,000 to fund the purchase and use of a Class 8 electric refuse hauler. So this is the first electric trash truck, for lack of a better term, that we're aware of in the area. And it's showing that vehicles now are overcoming the energy density issue that's been plaguing electric buses and large vehicles in the past. So that's very exciting as well. That's all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Stedman. I don't see any hands up. Thank you for your report. I appreciate the work you're doing. We're going to go to reports on meetings attended by board members at TAMC expense. I don't think we have any of those today, so let's jump to Executive Director's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and board members. So TAMC has been able to do a lot in the last month or so, and we hope to keep providing you some updates on our various projects. But if you've driven past the Salinas Rail Station, you can see that construction is really moving right along. Our current schedule calls for completion sometime in November, and you can mark your calendar for December 7th at 3 p.m. We're going to have a ribbon cutting. It'll be a socially distanced one, so we'll try to have a Zoom link in so that everybody who wants to either can participate, and then we'll probably come up with I don't know, 10 or so folks to participate in person. So very exciting to see that moving forward. On the not as good news, although our staff did a really excellent job pulling together a federal build grant application, not so much to our surprise, we did not get that. That was for the Highway 156 Castroville Boulevard interchange. There were 2 awards only in California, and those were in the Central Valley. And I do think that based on our past experiences and the fact that it's a very popular program, but only about 5% of the awards, the applications are awarded. You know, we were chagrined, but not surprised by that. The good news on that, though, was that Caltrans requested that we submit those applications, and it really displays the fact that Caltrans is very much invested in that project. So as noted last month, we did apply for all 3 of the SB1 programs, that congested corridors, the goods movement, and the partnership program. And taking a look, my cat's really excited about that. And taking a look at the list of submittals for that program, it is a very modest $20 million request. And so we hope to report back a positive result on that. Our grants team hardly got any breathing room between the SB1 grant applications and the active transportation program grant applications. Fortunately for us, we didn't have the same people working on both of them. So I want to give a shout out to Ariana Green and Stephanie Castillo. Not only did we submit our own grant application for the CSUMB North segment of the Fort Ag Trail, the Fort Ord Regional Trail and Greenway, but we also worked with the city of Seaside to prepare a grant for extending Broadway Avenue active transportation improvements. And we took the California Transportation Commission staff on a tour there last year, so I hope they remember that fondly and grant that project. As well as the Fort Ag, which will provide important access not only between the high school and Marina and Cal State Monterey Bay, but also provide access out to East Garrison. So fingers crossed on those 2. We also coordinated with King City to update their grant application. They got really close last time in getting that, given the points and the way that they're skewed towards so-called disadvantaged communities. We really think that they should have gotten awarded last time. And so we tried to really tailor that grant and provide some new information and mapping. And so fingers crossed for all of those active transportation program grant applications. Also on the kind of moving forward front, I wanted to report that TAMC is working to become a Blue Zones workplace, working with Teresa Wright on that. There's some fun things that we can do, like having a garden at work, which probably won't happen anytime soon, or having a bike station where you can get some bike exercise at your workstation. But there's also things that we can do are a little more straightforward, such as nutritional education and some things that we're already doing, which is, let's say, smoking cessation or other counseling type programs. So we hope to report back to you by the end of the year that we've made that goal. Next thing I wanted to report on was many thanks to Supervisor Phillips and to Supervisor Parker for hosting 2 different events to highlight some partnership projects that we're doing. The first was the Highway 183 Merritt Street through Castroville. That is a Caltrans project that we're working really hard to improve pedestrian safety and also the quality of the pavement through town. So we had a great turnout, and Caltrans did an excellent presentation, and I just want to thank the supervisor for hosting it and helping get some good turnout. And then Supervisor Parker hosted in her Hot Topics a presentation by MST staff and TAMC staff on the Surf Highway 1 busway project. And I understand there was an excellent turnout, and it's great to be able to use these forums to get information out to the public. I think we've actually had better turnout on the remote activities than we've had in person, probably just because it's easier for people to get to. So that's been fantastic. And then lastly, just want to say that, you know, based on the projections on COVID-19, we're still planning to continue to have TAMC board meetings remote. At some point in time, as we move down the ladder into the orange and yellow zones, we'll revisit the notion of meeting in person. And we may have to look at different sites for two reasons. One, because the Ag Commissioner's Office is going to be reconstructed, the auditorium. And another, because we'll need more space in order to distance. So we may be reaching out to you not only for ideas, but also to get your input as to whether you'd like to keep us meeting remotely. But we don't have to do that right away. And with that, Mr. Chair, is my report.
Thank you. Thank you for your report and for your cat meowing in the background. That made it interesting. Okay, any questions for Debbie on her report? Seeing none? Okay, then we just got any announcements or comments from TAMC members on matters they wish to put on future agendas? Does anybody have any of those? Allison Kerr.
Sorry, I couldn't get to my hand fast enough. I just wanted to thank Debbie for sending out the article you wrote on diversity and racial equity and how it's playing out under your leadership at TAMC. I think it's important for all of us to follow your lead. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Ms. Kerr. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Let's go, we're going into our last item, this closed session. This is regarding the public employee performance evaluation for executive director. Is there any comments from the public on this closed session item before we break and we go into that item? Any comments from the public? Okay, seeing none. All right, this is where we're gonna go into a different room, and I think our staff are gonna help us transfer our board of directors into that room, and then we will come back simply to make an announcement of any potential action in closed session.
Yes, so Chair, pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, the board will go into closed session to discuss a personnel issue. I am the lucky person who gets to try to be Mike Zeller for a moment. And so one of the things I have learned is I will ask all the board members to raise their hands. It'll be a little easier for me to then invite you into the breakout room. So you guys will then all go to the top, and this will take just a few minutes, but I'm going to be inviting you very shortly.
Do you want a virtual hand raise or?
Virtual hand raise, because that means you all go float to the top. And it's a lot easier for me to invite you.
Okay, this is Rita. So I just want to clarify, it's only the voting board members. So ex officios and alternate, yeah, ex officios would not be. So I just want to make sure that the board understood that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, well, that's not working. Hang on a second. All right, so let me do this manually. Create rooms. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to read names because some people are here as alternates. I don't know if they're doubling as alternate, and there are a couple of phone numbers. So if I miss your name and you're a voting member, please let me know. Chair Chavez, Allison Kerr, Angela Yuntalan, Bruce Delgado, Ed Smith, Greg Hawthorne, Jean Parker, John Phillips. I'm sorry, Chair Alejo, I'm sorry. Supervisor Chavez, Mary Adams, Mike Labar, Mayor Oglesby, Priscilla, Barbara, Robert Hewitt. Who have I missed who's not? Is anybody there on a phone number?
This is Scott Eads, and I don't think I'm supposed to be here. I'm with Caltrans, so I'm
Right.
probably not supposed to be in there.
No, you're not. Let's see, did I miss Davis? Scott Davis still here?
Scott Davis left the meeting.
Okay. So I'm going to then. Okay. And breakout room.
Looks like Supervisor Phillips isn't there yet.
Okay. It's been assigned, and now I have to frankly figure out how to get myself in there again.
Yeah, everybody looks like they're in there.
Yeah.
Mike, what does Kay need to do to get into the room?
There should be an option to join the room or assign yourself to the room.
Yeah, so let me go back. Nope, not that one. Apologize. Yeah. Just okay. Oh dear. Breakout room. It says unassigned. And I don't even see mine on there. Join. There we go. Sorry, guys. See you later.
Well, for the rest of us TAMC staff, I don't think we need to wait for the report out from the board on the closed session. There's not going to be anything really pertinent from that that's going to be super exciting. And if there is, Debbie can share it with us at 4 o'clock at the post-board meeting staff meeting.
Okay, and I'd say ex officios, you're free to go as well. So nice job, Tracy and Ariana. Nice job, Lisa, if she's still on.
Thank you, Michael.
And
Okay.
we shall see you all this afternoon, where
Scott.
undoubtedly Dora will make another cameo appearance.
Okay. All right, we'll see you.
Bye, all.
Keep up the good
We're gonna
work.
stay on.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, thanks, Rita.
Hello, Rita's gonna stay on. In case there's some follow-up items for October board or anything else going forward.
Sounds good, Rita.
I'll stay on.
Thanks, Rita.
Yeah, okay, all right.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Good to see y'all. Oh yeah, Eloise, you're gonna stay on, huh? Oh, okay. I thought Eloise was gonna stay on, but if not, yeah. Grant, I see that you're on now. Did you want to make your public comment? We came back to you, but you had gotten off for a little bit.
Grant, unmute yourself. Are you there? He may not be there. Maybe just on a phone somewhere. Who is the other phone number, Debbie? The can read with
I don't
I think
know.
6-something-27. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know if that's a member of the public or somebody else.
I don't know.
Okay. Hi, Catherine. Are you an expert on this?
I
You
was just
better-
thinking about it. Did Eloise take down every name and phone number that called in at the beginning of the meeting?
I don't know. She takes down the names for sure. I don't know about the phone numbers.
Okay.
I mean, people have the ability to be anonymous on a meeting, you know, they don't have to
Right.
introduce themselves,
Right.
right? Yeah.
They do.
Yeah. Okay. So how's it going in terms of your TAMC orientation?
It's good. It's really, there's a lot to learn. So
yeah,
I realized that TAMC could be just about a full-time job for me, just getting it to speed on everything. So it's a lot, but I am enjoying it. You guys just have such a tremendous amount of work and projects. So I admire you and all the, that you can keep up with everything.
So who else do you work for?
I work for IT, our county IT. I work for our animal services department. I work for our workforce development board. I work for the fleet. I work for, I'm missing somebody. I am back up to labor and employment.
Oh, you county. Are? Okay. Oh, that's right. I think Kate mentioned that, so that'll be useful.
That should be useful. Yes, I have some expertise in that, so I hope that helps you guys. And like I said, I'm sure I'm missing somebody.
Well, as you've seen, we tend to be mostly contracts, and you know, theoretically, we should be sort of set on those, but you know, Kate provides us a lot of input on specific issues that we run into, and then Brown Act, and then you know, the occasional personnel issue. This year's been a big one for personnel because of COVID stuff. So
right. Yes,
and the teleworking.
And that's actually, I'm just remembering my other department, which is a big department, which is the emergency communications department, the 911 dispatch center. The primary day-to-day work that I do for all, well, for IT and emergency communications and fleet is contracts. So I'm very, you know, well-versed in contracts and what we look for and what's important. And then Brown Act, I do a ton of Brown Act already for them. So I think it's a really good fit with TAMC.
We were really hoping that the governor would, that there would be legislation that went through that would allow everybody to do remote meetings, even in, you know, the post-COVID timeframe. I don't know if, you know, based on the way things have gone so far, he's probably going to keep that executive order in place for a while. But the way it was in the past, it was really super cumbersome for a board member to call in. And it would be really nice if they were able to keep this allowed, because for a board as large as ours, I think it actually increases participation. And, you know, we can certainly have periodic in-person meetings, but for now, you know, people aren't going to want to sit as cramped as we sat in those meetings. So
completely.
I don't really see us going in person for a while.
I know, I agree with you, and it is cumbersome. Without the COVID-19, you know, emergency procedures in place that we have right now. I know I've done it for our board for 911 is huge also, and it includes some supervisors. It's similar. It's not as big as your board, but it's similar. You know, it includes the CAO and a lot of people who have to be many places at one time. And so we always have requests. Can I call in? And it's like, if you call in, and you know, it has to be publicly posted, and then it has to be posted where you're calling in from. There has to be notice, and the public has to be able to access where you're calling in from. It's like you have your own little miniature Brown Act room.
Yeah. Yeah, which is silly.
It is, and we've done it. I think I've done it once successfully for somebody who we have to get it all in place like a few weeks in advance to do it. But you're right, it's so cumbersome that it's dissuasive to do it, and And so then you either have people who can show up, which is really hard for a board like yours. It's so big and involves so many elected and appointed officials, or you have people just not come. So then having to have a quorum and then trying to scramble at the last minute when you realize so-and-so can't get there in time, and it's hard. So I completely agree with you that it would be nice if at least there's some modifications after the state emergency is over to the Brown Act.
Right.
And I think for public participation too, it can be challenging. So it's, maybe this provides people more of an ability to participate in the process from the public.
We've gotten commuters at our US 101 event, and we never get commuters because, because what happens is that they just, they're so busy, right? You know, if you spend an hour on the road, you get home, your first thought isn't, oh, I'm going to go and sit in on a public meeting. You know, your first thought is, I'm going to, get dinner, right? I'm going to deal with the kids or whatever. So, yeah, so that was good. Okay.
And I think that brings up another issue is childcare. I mean, you're right. Even if you have a long, busy day and you can kind of make the time, well, then you have children and you're not going to leave the house, and what do you do with them? And so it does. I think it's better. This system's better for public participation and accessibility.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, 99% of people have a phone. You can do this with a phone, a smartphone. I mean, we found that throughout the world, it's maybe 90%, with Rotary, we look at that. And now people don't have like a computer, but they have a smartphone. And so, whatever you can do on a smartphone, virtually everybody. And I think we close out more people when we have an in-person meeting, in terms of accessibility than in a Zoom meeting.
Right.
Hi, Linda. We're just, shooting the breeze here.
Linda, were you by chance the phone number earlier?
I also saw Maria Roscoe.
I did too.
And
it looks like Kay transferred her.
So did she join late?
No, she must have gotten cut off because she was on initially and then off. Yeah.
Okay, because they came in and then suddenly she was gone on the screen. So I was wondering.
Yeah, Kay may have been tracking it and transferred her.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Yeah, at least I hope so.
And pardon my ignorance, Linda is with what entity?
Alejo, Supervisor Alejo.
Ah, got it. All right.
I'm guessing she's just monitoring to see when the supervisor's free.
Okay. Hey, Grant, you're finally off mute.
Good morning, Rita. Yes, sorry, I've been on phone calls, but it's great to see you. How's your house? How was everything with the fires?
Well, we were very fortunate. We had to evacuate for about 3 days, but I think it was more out of caution than, we were getting lots of smoke and lots of bad air. But also, the threat was there, but I think it didn't want a repeat of anything that happened up in Paradise and stuff. So I think they, were cautious and evacuated us. So fortunately, we went through nothing happened, but unfortunately we had to go through the pain of trying to decide what was important in the house and what wasn't, packing it all up and getting it out of here. And but we were one of the lucky ones. I see, KSBW was holding this fundraiser yesterday for fire victims. And you see these horrible pictures of people's houses and everything that's just completely burnt to the ground. So very thankful for, having gone through it without any, major trauma to us. So thank you for asking though.
Of course, and you've got to take care of that crazy husband of yours too. Make sure he doesn't do anything.
I'll tell him you said that.
Hey, it's almost fig season too. If you want to come by and get some figs from my backyard.
Hi, Debbie.
What's that again?
It's almost fig season.
Yes, Mayor Roscoe.
Debbie, I think I'm in the wrong meeting.
Oh, so you should be transferred. We were wondering what happened to you. You came and you went and you come back again. So let me see if I can text Kay and ask her to transfer you to the closed session, okay?
Thank you. I tell you.
Yeah, we were just talking about the pros and cons. We're waiting for the closed session. We were just talking about the pros and cons of remote meetings, and clearly you've definitely had internet issues, so our apologies.
So Catherine, while we were doing this, I sent Kay an email and I said if she has any notes, because yesterday she had actually forgotten that this was going to happen. So I sent her a reminder email yesterday. I said, Kay, don't forget, you've got the closed session. And she said, oh, thanks for the reminder. I better look at that. So I emailed her this morning. I said, if you've got any notes, it would be helpful for Catherine and I, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel if she's written something with us, so we can
hopefully
if we execute this, a couple of months from, when she's gone.
Right.
Hopefully we can do it as, she's already going through the pain of learning how to do it. Maybe.
Yes, I agree. Hopefully she has kind of a step-by-step process she can send you and me.
I hope so. Yes, that would be great. So I did email her.
You did
while
ask.
we're talking.
Okay. Thank you, Rita.
Oh,
And I'll
okay.
make sure to follow up.
Problem.
Okay, yeah, I'll put that on the TAMC follow-up list. All right, so Mayor Rusco, I just texted Kay that you're in our room and that she needs to transfer you.
Oh, and there she's gone. Look at that. It must have worked.
Well, it looked like she went last time, but then she came back.
Oh,
in.
right.
I just asked Kay if she did it. On the plus side, you won't have to do this for a while. Well, we've got some real property things going on, but you won't have to do it because Mike will be part of the real property.
Maybe not the property, Debbie, but just, I never know what
Any personnel issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done. Okay,
And-
Kay said she did it.
Okay.
So good morning, Catherine. This is Grant Leonard. I take it you're the new incoming county council for TAMC?
I sure am. Good morning, Mr. Leonard. It's nice to meet you over Zoom.
Yeah, likewise. As
Thank
a
you.
6-year employee of TAMC, and I still float around and attend meetings, so try to be a friendly thorn in the side of Debbie.
Great. Yes, Kay Ryman is transitioning out and I'm transitioning in. So eventually it will just be my face full time, but we still have Kay as well right now.
Well, exciting.
So,
yes, I know it sounds like you had wanted to speak a public comment. I actually think it may be better once the rest of the board rejoins. We can ask the chair if he wants to revisit that.
Yeah, I logged on at 9 o'clock and I was looking for a button to press, but I don't see a comment button on my Zoom screen. So I'll just make a comment next month. It's actually about a construction project that's ongoing, so
Oh, okay.
it's not particularly pertinent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to raise your hand. The chat, we've disabled the chat for everybody so that they don't start chatting with themselves about agenda items.
Which should, right, because of the Brown Act, exactly. But you
But
can
you
raise
should
your
be
hand.
able to send a message to the chair or to the moderator. So yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay. My Zoom looks more like a normal meeting than a public meeting. So I've got the number of participants, a chat, a record, and a reaction.
Okay, right. I'm looking at the same thing.
A raise hand or anything.
So raise hand, I believe, if you touch your name on it. Under
It's in your own
participants touch.
screen. Right.
Yeah. Well, or select your name under participants.
Yeah, no, interesting. I just have rename myself or mute myself. Oh, raise hand down on the very bottom, kind of hidden. Okay, now I see.
Oh, okay, you found it. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah. So are you at home or are you at work? We were wondering if there could be a kid cameo.
Well, potentially 2 kid cameo, and
yeah.
You know, my home office doubles as the nursery, so there's a potential of Galen being changed in the background whenever I'm making a comment.
Gee, that's why you stopped your video, huh?
I did an interview with Telemundo 2 weeks ago, and they wanted to Zoom it. So Galen's diaper genie got primetime TV.
Well, as you saw today, Dora's been the star of my Zoom meetings.
I was wondering if it was one cat or was it two cats talking or fighting or what was happening. Just one? Very chatty.
Oh my gosh. Daddy's gone. Daddy took a post-retirement field trip to Portland, and so she's like, meh.
Right. Pay attention to me.
Very needy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, anytime you want to put your screen on and show the babies, you don't have to wait. Well, the toddler and the baby, you don't have to wait until the diaper change to do it.
Good to know. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's interesting. All the different services, WebEx, Zoom, Google Meet, GoToMeeting. I'm certain that each one kind of has little quirks, but I think Google and Zoom are by far the best I've had so far.
What does the city use?
City uses Google. We have a Gmail system for our email, so it's already built in.
Yeah, I'm on the board of trustees for York Schools, and they use Google Meets. I haven't figured out how to do virtual backgrounds for other systems. I've tried, but I haven't been able to do it. Maybe it's because I'm a subscriber to Zoom that it works. So I'm most familiar with that. But yeah, I've used all the different ones. I think WebEx is sort of the least friendly.
Totally agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Anti-person.
It's interesting. Oh, looks like they're coming back.
Okay.
Not quite everybody. Still waiting on the chair. Oh, there we go.
All right. Here we are. I think we all made it back.
And we didn't have to dematerialize to do so. It dates me to Star Trek. I'm sorry.
Or if we did dematerialize, we've reconstituted.
That's true.
Okay, let's go to Ms. Ryman. Any report out of closed session, Ms. Ryman?
No, Your Honor, Your Honor, Your Honor. There is no reportable action.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for all our board members for joining us, members of the public, staff. We will now adjourn today's meeting.
Oh,
Thank you
Mr.
very
Chair,
much. Oh, wait.
I'm sorry.
Ms. Sale. Yes, go
Before
ahead.
you adjourn, our public commenter was able to make it back on the line. And so if you
Okay.
wouldn't mind giving him a chance to speak.
Yes, we can. Okay, let's go to that last public comment, and then we'll end our meeting. If we could unmute that person, I think it was
It's Mr. Leonard.
Leonard Grant.
Yes, good morning, Chair Alejo and members of the board. Grant Leonard, former TAMC employee. I just wanted to join to commend Monterey County and Supervisor Phillips for starting work on an intersection improvement at Morrow Road and San Miguel Canyon. I also wanted to highlight this for Caltrans, who's no longer on the meeting, because this is an intersection improvement that's included in the Pajaro to Ferndale corridor study, which was funded through a Caltrans planning grant. So having worked with Debbie for so many years, I know it's important to take time to celebrate these accomplishments, and definitely want to remind the board and Caltrans that Caltrans planning grants work, and we're getting to see actual real improvements in our community because of that. So again, thank you, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard, and for being persistent to come back and share your public comments with us. We appreciate it. Okay, that was our last item of business, so now we can adjourn our meeting. Thank you, everybody. See you next month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.